Hi, I'm Blake, and we're sitting in what used to be my 2007 New Holland TS115A, but a couple of days ago I sold this tractor in an auction on auctiontime.com. We're going to talk a little bit about that process, but the buyer is on his way over right now to pick it up. So while we're waiting on him, let's take a look back at some of the memories we've had since this tractor arrived on the ranch. I don't know if you can read them, but all these filters on this tractor are dated 2015. So I know this thing hasn't been touched at least since then. Long story short, I had to have the injection pump on this tractor rebuilt. For sure is I got to get the 3-point working so we can run the snowblower this year. I've been running the New Holland all afternoon, feeding animals, doing chores. Headed off down the road with it just now to go blow some snow, and it died. Don't do this. This is irresponsible. I could run over an antelope. Another reason we do this in the fall is because it's at the end of hay season and the knives are already dull and chipped, and they're going to get replaced before they go back into the field for any real production work. So who cares if we trash them on a rock? Here's the cold start I said I needed to do to see how this timing was set. This is not staged. This is not faked. This is all real. You can see our needle there is dead down at the bottom. She's cold as she can get. And let's crack the door for you. There we go. Hold on, Ivy. Chill, baby girl. Dead as a freaking doornail, so I just hiked about 2 miles in 7-degree weather to get to the pickup, and now we are in said pickup, approaching said New Holland that you'll be seeing a little more clearly here in just a second, sitting dead right square in the middle of the road. That was broken. There's the end of the wire. I know it's dark, I'm sorry, but this is not ideal conditions. That's where the other end of the wire is supposed to be. I'm glad I didn't try to go too far with this thing. I know for sure I'm gonna need a battery. We're gonna call this a ranch tripod today. If you're new to the channel or aren't familiar with the story, I purchased this New Holland TS115A sight unseen from Maryland just under a year ago in July of 2017. I paid approximately $26,000 for the tractor, and then I paid about another $2,000 to have it transported 1,600 miles from Maryland to me out here in southeastern Wyoming. Now, the reason I did that and the reason I bought this tractor from so far away is I simply could not find one in the more local area that had the features I was looking for a price I was willing to pay. As I would soon come to find out with this particular tractor, there's a reason it was cheap. There's a really good reason it was cheap. I never saw this tractor until the semi-truck delivering it pulled up at my house. That was the first time I ever laid eyes on my, at that point, $28,000 investment. I don't recommend you buy a tractor that way. This was very much a learning experience for me, and while the seller did not tell the truth regarding the condition and a few other things, at the end of the day, it was my fault. I should have done more of my own homework. I should have taken a few more steps than what I did. But either way, the tractor was delivered to me, and while it was not at all what I was expecting, it was a tractor and it did run for a little while. When I got it off the trailer, I proceeded to spend almost $1,000 just doing basic maintenance. Filters, fluids, things like that. The hydraulic fluid that came out of this tractor was absolutely foul. I've been a professional mechanic all of my working life. Since I was 18 years old, I've worked on everything from lawnmowers to bulldozers, and I have never ever seen hydraulic fluid that looked like that. That stuff was just awful. So I've gone through, we've done all the main service. Once I got the service on this tractor completed, we discovered it had a miss on cylinder number 1. And tracking that down involved an injection pump rebuild, injector rebuilds. We went through all that just to get the miss sorted out. And then once we got the engine miss figured out, we discovered the 3-point hitch wouldn't work. The tractor would intermittently stop moving. None of the lights worked. The PTO didn't work. The differential lock didn't work. What else didn't work? Oh, after having the injection pump and the injectors rebuilt, this tractor suffered a failed turbo after an engine runaway. You can roll the dice on that one, chicken or the egg. Did the failed turbo cause the runaway, or did the runaway happen because the failed turbo was feeding oil directly into the cylinders? I can't answer that, but we replaced the turbo. The new turbo was bad out of the box. It actually, New Holland replaced that new turbo under a part warranty because it only ran for like 2 hours before it blew. After doing that, I started down another path trying to sort out some problems and would end up replacing the fuel lift pump for, I think, the second time, maybe third time, I forget, and having the injection pump and fuel injectors rebuilt again. It was after this last round of injection pump and injector problems that I made the decision to sell this tractor. While this tractor, size-wise, capability-wise, it is pretty close to what I need right now, I'm making a few moves that would outclass this tractor very, very quickly. So even though it is now a solid tractor, everything works, it does not fit the scope of my operation. I've looked at a few options to replace it. We'll talk about that more in a minute. But when I decided to sell this tractor, I had a few options available to me. Obviously, I could go trade it in at the dealer, but because this thing does have 8,600 hours, or 8,300, I forget. Maybe it's 8,300. Either way, over 8,000 hours, the dealer simply could not give me much for it. I mean, I'm not faulting them for that. That's just a difficult tractor to sell, as I would find out trying to sell this tractor. That's high hours. High hours scare people. And from my experience, with good reason, my total investment in this tractor is somewhere in the neighborhood of $36,000 as it sits right now in this video you're watching. So after the trade-in not really being able to work, and after a private sale just taking much, much longer than I wanted to continue putting into it and taking a lot of effort, I made the decision to auction this tractor off. Now, when I made that decision, I looked at a few different ways of doing it, and I ended up going with AuctionTime.com through a broker. Now, Auction Time is not sponsoring me. The broker is not sponsoring me. I was just a customer like everybody else. They don't even know I'm making this video, more than likely. If they do, hi, but this is not a paid promotion in any way. I'm just somebody that used their service. Now, when you want to sell on Auction Time, you can either list the tractor yourself, or you can do what I did and employ a third-party broker to list the tractor for you. The reason I employed a third-party broker, because he could invest a lot more time into selling this machine than I could. He could go in and he could look at what similar models of tractor have sold, when did they sell the best, what auction dates have sold the best. And before we decided on a date to auction this tractor, he gave me a report with like 5 years worth of auction information on it, showing exactly what date tractors in this class have sold for the most money over the last few years. He also did all the legwork as far as advertising this tractor, taking pictures of this tractor, shooting videos of this tractor. I think his listing had something like a combination of 95 pictures and videos on it. In addition to everything he did for the listing on auction time, he also handled meeting all the prospective buyers that wanted to inspect the tractor and do all that stuff, so I didn't have to take any time out of my life to deal with it. To me, that was worth what it cost. Now, the auction broker gets paid a percentage of the final sale price, which, that's kind of their incentive to make sure this tractor brings as much money as it can as well. But this tractor started with a starting bid of $100 and no reserve, so technically it could have sold for $100. It's unfortunate, it's risky, but that's what you're getting into when you get into an auction. And tractors that have reserve prices or higher starting bids may not end up selling for as much money as a tractor that doesn't have that, because once somebody bids on something, they get kind of emotionally invested in it, and they want to see it through. If nobody's bidding because they know there's a reserve, or they know there's, a $10,000 starting bid, you have a much smaller pool of people that get emotionally invested in that piece of equipment or whatever it is that's being auctioned. So this tractor bidding opened on a Monday, I believe, and from Monday until the final sale date on Wednesday, it went up to approximately $16,000 to $17,000 in those, call it 2.5 days. The last few hours on Wednesday is when this tractor really, that's when people started paying attention, because it was about to end and they could know right then whether they were going to own it or not. In the last few hours, this tractor went from about $16,000 worth of bids to its final sale price of $24,000. A lot of people have asked me if I was happy with the price because of where the auction ended at $24,000, and while it could always be better, my goal, my hope was to just see this tractor bring at least $20,000. And after auction fees and broker fees and taxes, that's roughly where I'm going to end up. So it's a tough pill to swallow to have invested about $36,000 into something that sold for $24,000. But, that's life. That happens sometimes, and not every deal is a winner. I've had enough good equipment deals. I guess it was just my turn to get the short end of the stick on one, and I did. But right now, everything on this tractor runs, everything on this tractor works. I think the new buyer is going to be very happy with it. I just need to replace it. A lot of people have asked me what I'm going to replace this tractor with, and I don't know just yet. I've looked at a few different options, and it really boils down to what my local dealers can support, because my New Holland dealer has been absolutely excellent throughout my entire ordeal with this tractor. And while I'm not brand loyal, I am very, very dealer loyal. So a small local dealership like this that's gone out of their way for me, I want to buy a tractor from them, but I am working on a constrained budget. So at the very least, if I can't buy the tractor itself from them, I definitely want to get something that they can service and sell me parts for, because they've just really, really been very beneficial. I'm a huge fan of Brown Company in Wheatland, Wyoming. But I think we're getting about wrapped up here. This gentleman is towing this with an F450 pickup truck. He certainly has plenty of weight capacity, but a couple of people have commented on that tractor being loaded so far forward, and it's his truck, his trailer, and his tractor, so he is free to load it however he wants as far as I'm concerned. If DOT or Highway Patrol or somebody wants to take an issue with it, that's between them. This thing is out of my life. While this thing is out of my life, we've got some big things coming. I'm looking at buying another gooseneck trailer. I'm going to talk more about that here in the coming weeks. So if you guys are interested in that and ranch life and everything else you've seen on this channel, subscribe. For now, let's just say thanks for watching and more later.